Hello and welcome to the channel. So we've got a Hollywood film company Amp1. I bet you've never seen one of these before. You probably have in the States, but the UK viewers haven't. Now I thought we'd have a quick look at this. Kieran sent this down, the guy that owned the Masco that we did a few videos ago. The benches are full at the moment and I'm waiting for parts coming in, so I thought we'd just have a quick look at this. It's in for a bit of a check over just to make sure it's safe. You know, there's a good ground in it and whatever, and the tubes are good. So very basic looking amplifier. It looks like it's got a little speaker here. We've just got an on-off switch and a volume there, so pretty simple. If we just turn it round, you can see we've got a fuse holder there. We've got a phono socket that says X lamp. So this is obviously not a guitar amp or anything. And we've got a headphones out on there, and we've got this switch, not sure what this does, opt and mag. So is this something that, you know, was used on an office desk, some kind of, I don't know, office communication product? I don't know what I'm trying to think or say there. But anyway, we're looking at it as an amplifier and putting a guitar through. Obviously it's 110 volts. You can see there we've got a 10 volt plug. So we need to get inside this and have a look, because it's full of goodies, full of valves, tubes. We need to get in. Looks like, from what I can see, looks like the only screws that I can see are those. So I don't know. Are those really long? Do they go all the way through? Don't know how that comes apart. At the moment, but I suppose we'll try those. Right, so there we go. Look at that little speaker. He's in fine fettle. My days. Let's bring the camera up so we can see a bit more over the top. If we look in there, you can see we've got dry electrolytic, a couple of electrolytics there, speaker with a transformer on. Is that the output transformer? We've got another transformer here. That's probably a choke. There's just a couple of wires coming out of that. We've got power transformer there. 6AQ5 for the output tube. Got 12AX7, and that tube, what is that? Because the shield is covered. 5879. It's a very interesting tool. Indeed. Let's have a look at the underneath of it. There. So you can see inside there. Oh, look at that. The neutral's off. And the live is as well. Oh. Oh. What's going on there then? My word, that's not very safe, is it? So it looks like those have just somehow got pulled off there. What's going on with that fuse? What's going on here? Oh, right. Well, I think Kieran said he never plugged this amp in, and it's probably just as well. So we've got the live and the neutral off there. We've got the fuse holder is not connected up at all. Not at all, look. I'll just use it handheld and then we can have more of a look. So you can see these wires are off here, and by the look of it they go on that strip there. Very dodgy soldering there. So we've got a diode there, a couple of diodes here. Some very, it's okay, I suppose. The thing with this amp is there's so little information about it. We don't know if someone's modded it for guitar or whatever's been done to it. You can see this doesn't look original to me here. There's some solder on there. There's some solder on that rail there. Got a rather large resistor here off the capacitors there. Actually, is that off? Yes, off those, yeah, off those capacitors. That's a rather huge dropping resistor, 2K. Sorry if this is a bit shaky. I'm really not good with a handheld camera when I'm doing this, because I normally film on a tripod, so I'm a bit out of practice at handheld filming. Capacitor there, got some ceramics in there. Well, I think we better approach this with caution if all this has been disconnected. I think I best go and see what power cables I've got as well, because this is obviously, I mean, this could have just pulled out the ground, is the only thing that's holding that in there. That's really careless to leave that like that. That is poor. So we need to drill this out and put a proper gland in there to make that safe. There's actually a fuse in this. It's all loose. My word, we'll have to sort that out as well, won't we? So I'll have to just put the camera down and see if there's anything in there. Right, I don't know whether that says 8 or 9 amp. Not sure what that's doing in there, but we don't have a requirement of that anymore. I wonder what fiend has disconnected that then, or has it just been so poorly soldered they've just fallen off with this moving around maybe. So that's the first thing. We need a power lead for this. This one doesn't feel, it's a bit rubbery, and I don't like rubber power cords, and the cores are rubber as well. I'm really not fond of rubber. Better rephrase that, hadn't I, seeing as I'm on YouTube. I'm really not fond of rubber power cords. So I might have to edit that bit out. Very basic amp, really. Just a little single-ended amplifier, very basic. So I think we need to get this cable changed first of all, and then get this amp on a current limiter. Right, we've got this on a better tripod now. So I'm just looking how this is wired up, because I've not got an American power lead as such. Well, I haven't got one, period. As though I don't like this mains flex particularly. We really need it at the minute to fire this amp up to make sure there's no problems with it. So this looks like the feed going into the transformer, and this is the feed out of the transformer, this red and black wire here. Now that wire there going into the transformer, it should be up on there, and the live should be there, and then the neutral goes down to here, and this is the switch for the on-off switch, which is there, going around there. From there you can see in the pot, and that neutral goes to there. Now someone's attempted to solder this at some point, and if we look at it, you can see that they've not bothered to clean the patina off and the muck on there, and that's just not taken at all, and that is really poor. So we need to take that off. and it's actually dry jointed. In fact, it's loose, it's just dry jointed. So we need to sort that out. I don't see any other obvious signs of problems. That I just think is flux from the soldering that's dripped onto there. That's just flux. So that cap doesn't look like it's leaking or anything, but we won't know the condition of the caps until we actually get this fired up. Just looking around for any other dry joints things before we start firing this up. And yes, I'm using a screwdriver. This hasn't been switched on for onions, so there's no electric in it. No voltage in this one. If you can see that little bit of smoke coming up there, that's the soldering iron. There we go, we'll just pop him in his can. Right, first thing is we'll unsolder this wire off of here and we'll get this fuse holder cleaned up for better soldering. Right, so we've wired up this. Now this I've only put this together while we test this amp. This amp needs a new fuse holder, it needs a new mains flex, but we've just cleaned those terminals up, which they just put them through. They tried to solder them on and they were just dirt and patina all over those. So we're just doing this purely as test purposes. So we also need a cable gland there to stop this, which is probably why they've pulled off in the first place. And we need to make that safe. But for the time being, for test purposes, we'll be fine with that. Right, so I'm just squeezing the current limiter in there as well, so you can see that on the camera. Just ease back a bit there, you can just see that. So we've got a 15 watt bulb in there. We need that on. So we've got a 270 ohm cathode resistor there. So this amp's obviously cathode biased, obviously. So we are now going to run this amp up. And I'm just going to tack that onto there. Right, that's turned up there and on. Here we go then. So you can see the 15 watt bulb. Current limiter bulb there's just lit pretty dimly really. So we've got no voltage coming out of that. 0.3 of a volt. Oh, I ain't put the fuse in, have I? Or have I? Let me just see if I have. I'm in lemon mode this morning, been gigging over the weekend. I ain't put it in correctly. It's let's use the pliers on there, switched off. Right, and that just hadn't seated properly. Right, we'll exchange the screwdriver for something more non-conductive when we're having a poke around. Right, let's go again. Bulb's lit. Still got no voltage there. Right, see how much AC is coming in. Uh, 86 volts is coming in there. 86 volts is barely conducting at all. Fuse holder's working. Right. I've got 85 volts there and I've got 5 volts there. So is it that there's something with that switch? See what we've got at that switch. That's just took the trip out. Right, but 86 there, and I've got 5 volts there, so that switch is tatered. That switch is all over by the look of it. I must have just caught that just for a split second on the ground of that switch, just with the meter probe. And that's what tripped. But we've got sophisticated trips on these premises, so you don't even see a spark. You make a mistake. 5 volts. That's all that's coming out that switch. So the switch is toast, or has been toasted at some time. Right, we'll just switch off. So I think what we're going to do now is bridge that over. Oh, what's that? Is that another dry joint that I've missed? I don't know. Let's just check that on Bully's prize board. So it's something that's dry jointed as well. Right, we'll shut down. We need to solder that. We can't be messing about with that. So there we go. So now we've got just 38 volts on there, which is not a lot of that bulb. We've got a 15 watt bulb in the current limiter. I've got AC being monitored on this meter, and I've got DC being monitored on this one. Let's switch on and see what we get. Aha, things work. So we've got 42 volts on there now on the AC meter, 44, and we've got 145 on there. So we're just going to let that sit for a minute. Right, we'll put a 25 watt bulb in with that now. So we've got 40 watts. That's giving us 75 volts on the AC. 150 volts we're up to now, and that's dropping now, so we are getting some tubes conducting. Yep, I think I can hear something, but it's very quiet. But there is something there. Right, let's go up to 65 watts on the current limiter. Just put a second bulb in there. Now I've got 90 volts. Which is not far off the voltage it needs. Got 177 now on the B+. That has made it just a little bit louder, but that's not right. Right, let's test down the line and see what we've got. So let's see what we've got the other side of this big dropping resistor. 132. So we've got 132 on there. Got 110 on that dropping resistor. There. Oh, that's going back to 110. 122, 110 there. So where's that going? Red wire there, red wire. Just see what's on here. Oh, that'll be on that side. There. Ah, getting a bit of something there. Is this a drop-in resistor here? It's rather crudely wired up, isn't it? 109. 105 on that tube there. We got 5.97 on the bias there, on the across that resistor. We've got 5.7. Sorry, what's that say? 5.98. So we'll call that 6 volts. Remember, we've still got the bulbs on, so we're 20 volts down on there. So what's the plate on it? That'll be the plate there. Yeah, 128 on the plate of the 6AQ5. Is that the screen? Yep. Hey. Is that the plate? The screen, sorry. 134. 128. It's got more on the screen than we've got on the plate. What's this tube here? What voltage? See what voltages we've got on here. What's that? 15 volts on that tube, not a lot. Well, we've got it running. So what do we know so far then? We need the power switch is broken. We need a new mains flex. We need a cable gland. We need a new fuse holder. And as yet, we've got no output from this thing. Or very little. I'm sure there should be more output than that. That switch at the back just seems to cut out that input. We're not sure what that does. I think we're going to have to trace this out. We're also going to have to go through it with a fine tooth comb to make sure everything is 100% safe in this. But we don't seem to have much output, do we? I know that speaker's small, but I'd expect more output than that. We just flick the current limiter off for a second. Yeah, that's come up a bit more now. So the plate voltage now is 223, well the B plus. We've got less than that on the plate. How much have we got on that plate of that 6AQ5 again? That's a bit of a difference. 155 on the plate of that 6AQ5, but we've got 222 B plus. So that tells me I'd expect to see maybe 6 or 7 volts less, given, you know, a drop across the output transformer. That's pretty substantial. What we're missing there, over 50 volts. So that's not right. So it's just 6 volts on that cap. We don't really know what that's doing, do we? Remember, this isn't a guitar amp. In fact, if anybody actually knows what this amp was originally used for, I would imagine it's been on some office desk or something. If anybody knows, good 'un, you must have seen one of these before. Ply the comments with good information. Right, let's see what we've got plate to cathode. 123 volts, 22 volts. So what we need to do is just check the bias on this amp and just see if it's running really cool. We'll just turn off the limiter. That's not making a lot. Oh, it is, yeah. So plate to cathode. We've got 147, but wait, we've just suddenly come to life. What happened there? They've just sprung to life. Socket wants a clean, maybe that's why. I don't know, but it sprung to life. It's just A lot of frying going on. But we'll worry about that after. That's least of us problems at the moment. So that just suddenly sprung to life. I don't quite know why, but it did. So let's check that. 125 volts. And the drop is 8.3. So that divided by 270, that gives us 30 milliamps. We need to take away 5% for the screen. 29 milliamps. 4.25 watts that tube's dissipating at, and it should be 12, so there's obviously issues there as well. But it's frying away. I know you're all dying for me to put the guitar through it, so I'm going to put it on back on the current limiter though, just to be on the safe side. So we've got 92 volts there, and that gives us some protection should one of those cats suddenly decide to say good night. Let's plug in, see what we've got. Distortion there, and that speaker doesn't seem to be working very hard. Oh yes. Some fun with this one. Sounds mint for a little speaker, that does. Dearie me, that sounds awesome. I've no idea what impedance that is or anything. There's a socket on the back. It's not switchable. It is switchable, that socket. That needs some attention. So we need to find out why it suddenly sprung to life. There must be a dry joint somewhere, or it's just that tube, that 6AQ5 tube socket. Because I was testing on that when it suddenly sprung to life. Now remember, it's only biased at 4 watts. We need to find out why we've got such a drop going into that plate on that 6AQ5. We've got over 50 volts drop there. I mean, that speaker is tinny, we'd expect that, wouldn't we? I can hear you all saying, now plug it into a bigger speaker. We will do then. Just to cheer everybody up after the bank holiday. But of course in the States you wouldn't know what a bank holiday, would you? So here in the UK we have what's known as bank holidays, where basically the bank decides to have a holiday and everyone follows suit. Except if you're a musician, or you work in a bar or something, then of course you have to work bank holidays. So we'll plug this speaker in and see what happens. To be very careful here because we've got a lot of wires and voltage and things. There we go. Let's see what that sounds like. So this is into a 1912 cab, Marshall 1912 cab that I've got on the floor here. I think we can improve on that as well. We're not getting much of a clean tone out of it at the moment, but given the fact that it's biased so low and we're missing some, I'm sure we're missing some voltage off that plate, we've got to be. Just flick it off the current limiter just for a second. Yeah, that's cleaned up much better, with a bit more plate voltage. That's awesome. That's a great little thing. What a tool. My word. Well, there we are. So we've managed to get it working. It was a bit of a struggle there, and we still got, let's put it back on that current limiter, and we still got a few problems, haven't we, in there? So let's just have a bit of a recap. So we need a new power cord, because that one is not very nice at all. We need a new fuse holder. The switch is busted, so we're probably going to need a pot with a switch there. We may have to, we're going to have to, or try and see if we might have one of those kicking about. But we definitely need that. And I know some people who take that apart, try and fix it. I don't. I'm sorry, that's, if it's faulty, and then I ain't entertaining it. It's got to go. We need this to be safe. What else do we need? We need to find out why we've got such low voltage and low plate current. Also low screen current though as well. The screen current is slightly, in fact that's just a few volts higher. So a screen resistor, we could fit a screen resistor on here as well. In fact we should do, really, it should have a screen resistor on there. We're frying away, so obviously we need to clean the tube sockets. There may be some plate resistors that need changing, again due to that frying. So at this point then I'm going to call Kieran and just let him know what's going. In fact, I think I'll make this video a part 1, but I'll give Kieran a call and just see what he wants to do with this. I think what we'll do, we'll get this we'll get all these problems sorted out. I'll have to order a power flex. We'll get all these problems sorted out. We'll find out what's going on with this 6AQ5 tube. Is it just tired, or I mean, is it just had its day? We'll get this, try and get that sorted out, get this bias up, find out what this capacitor's doing here, because it doesn't seem to have much voltage on it, and find out what it's connected to. I don't think we're going to need any coupling capacitors or anything in this, because these are all ceramics and they seldom leak. We just need to basically find out. We could do it just, I think we'll do a schematic on this. Let's see, we'll trace it out and see what we can, because there's obviously no information online on it, so that's got to be the best option. But that's actually been a fun hour or so, that getting that working. I've actually quite enjoyed that, and the end result, it's, yeah. When we get this all sorted out, Kieran, you might have to wait a couple of weeks before you get it back, because I might be rocking out on it for a bit. That is awesome. Just and again, you know, considering it's running very sick, if we turn the volume down, we've got problems there, haven't we? But that could just be a pot once cleaning, but that'll probably be changed anyway because of the switch. There's nowhere else to put a switch on it either. Really, what does this do? I don't know what that switch is off that speaker by the look of it, but yeah, it's got a switchable socket. So has someone added that switchable socket at some time? I don't know. In fact, there's not really much we do know about this, is there? Except it's a fun little item. Yes, I think that's what we'll do. We'll get all these problems sorted out, and then from there we'll see what this sounds like, and if it sounds okay, then we'll just leave it. You know, if we can tweak the sound a bit and make it a little better, but if it sounds reasonable, then we'll just leave it. Sounds good to me. Right, we'll call that part 1, and that should do it for this one. So thanks for watching. And you all take care, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye bye for now.